Ladies and gents, we are back at Body Scan. We are 8 weeks in, so we're going to look at the results and see how much tissue and fat that I've gained. I am fasted. We're trying to keep things as consistent as possible. So every 8 weeks, same sort of time, around about midday, fasted to give as accurate reading as possible. Let's jump on a scanner.
Right, Tom. So, drum roll. So this is your new scan from 8 weeks past the last one.
Yeah.
So you've put on about 1.8 kilograms. Cool. Okay, so to me, that's a kind of nice gradual, it's a good indicator.
Yeah.
You know, when we start to see big gains in weight,
Sure.
then we're typically seeing a lot of fat.
Absolutely.
When I say to clients, you know, between 0.5% and 2% weight gain of body weight per month.
Sure.
But actually probably the 0.5% to 1% is a safer place to be.
Yeah.
So if we go to your progress page here, so about 1.8 kilograms in weight, so about 700 grams has been body fat.
Okay.
Okay, but about 1.1 has been lean mass.
Interesting.
All right.
Good. Nice.
So yeah, so it's that's pretty good. We often see, typically we'll see 1 for 1, but I think what's worth pointing out, Tom, is that yes, it's a slow process, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not kilograms per month.
No.
You know, so many male clients particularly come in and they think, okay, in 4 weeks' time they're going to gain 3 kilos of muscle mass.
No chance.
It's just not. And you know, my own experiences. I spoke to you last time and before.
Yeah.
I'm now working harder than ever.
Of course.
And I've been putting on a little bit of lean, but it's like 150 grams a week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know, we all have our thresholds. We've all got a capacity and a propensity to grow muscle.
Yeah.
You know, age is one of them, hormones, sleep, stress, all the rest of it, and of course the program.
Yeah.
But you know, that rate of increase is slow enough to be almost
Yeah,
undetectable on a scale.
Absolutely. I mean, it just goes to show, it highlights Eric Helms' study where he would rather us be more conservative in the grand scheme of things and spend more time. You know, when clients come to you and say, I've got 12 weeks here to gain as much muscle, I'm like, right, we need to look at doing 6 months.
Yeah, totally.
As opposed to like a 3-month block or even a 2-month block. So, yeah, very, very
I mean, if people come in, you know, and say, look, I just want to be bigger, right?
Yeah.
I just want to gain muscle.
Yeah.
Then probably at that point, I'll say, well, let's think about 2 years.
Of course.
3 years, right?
Absolutely.
You know, this has got to be something, you know, you're going to be doing forever. You know, not just a flash in the pan and then stop.
No.
It's a slow process.
Not at all.
So, so there we are. So it is about 600 grams a month on average, which is like it's like mine. So that's like you know, 150 grams a week.
Yeah, yeah.
Our scale is only precise to 200 grams.
Of course.
On a weekly level, we wouldn't even pick it up.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to go a month, 2 months, 3 months before you see an increase in weight and muscle mass that you can be sure of.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something I'm drilling into a couple of clients now that are in improvement phases. It's like, I'd rather us hold back with the calories. I mean, I've only, in the grand scheme of things, what a calculator might say that my calories should be, I'm probably still under.
Okay, yeah.
And that's due to the fact that I've been dieting for maybe 6, 7, 8 months. So that's when I say, like, we need to look at your previous data, previous scale weight and previous food before we make any decisions. Because I could have gone all in and done 3,500 calories. Yeah,
but then all we'd have seen is more fat.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
of course.
You know, you can't force feed again.
No.
So you know, the only thing you could do here, the only thing you could do here as a potential. So your calories, I think, are on it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If anything, you've got the potential to just tweak the program maybe,
sure.
and that could be in exercises, reps, sets, you know, I don't know, weights, etc. But you know what you're doing. But you know, we can't force this bit. We can't force feed this bit, and anything over, you know, the surplus too much is going to increase the body fat. But you've kept it really nice and low.
Amazing.
So.
Very valuable.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Eric, I think. So
okay.
We're doing a little study of our own.
All right.
Doing body scans every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It'll be interesting to, you know, say, you've done the right thing. You're doing it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
We're coming, you know, regularly. And this, by the way, that's why we say don't go under. There's no point coming for a scan less than 8 weeks.
No, of course not.
Because, you know, it's too. Otherwise, nothing will happen.
Of course.
And also, we want most clients to know that it's sustainable.
Absolutely.
That they're going to stick at it.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Okay. All right.
See you in another.
See you in another 8 weeks.
See you in another 8 weeks.
Yeah, cheers, Tom. Well done.
So there we go. 1.1 kg of tissue gained and then 600 gram of fat, which I'll take. As Phil said, usually they see a 1-1 ratio. So if you're gaining like a kilo of tissue, more often than not you're gaining a kilo of fat. So maybe in today's episode we'll go through what I've been doing over these last few months to keep body comp and fat mass to a minimum. Got delts, back and biceps today. I've rotated my crucifix lateral raises out for a Cybex seated press, because I don't really like the pressing machines at Muscleworks, so I'm going to do more lateral work at Muscleworks and use this lovely piece of kit at the start of the session. We were at 4 plates for 8 last week, so top set 6 to 8, back off 8 to 10. Last week we hit the upper end of that rep scheme, so we'll go for load increase today and try and hit 6. So we'll whack a 2.5 key plate on. Unfortunately, as you know, we're not in prime TM Cycles off-season mode where we're geared up to the eyeballs and whacking 20 key plates on a side a week. We'll take the 2.5.
Oh. 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 Perfect. Well, it's quite nice being in tune with your body when you're natural. That sort of, I don't know what I'm trying to talk about here. I'm just sort of, as I was mentioning a second ago, I was like, let's go for 6. I think I've got 6 in me. Hit the 6. Whereas on gear sometimes you ain't got a clue what's going on that given day. Might put 7 plates on a Cybex hack and go, well, this is really easy. I feel like the first area we should start with is calorie calculators. As good as they are, they don't take into consideration an individual's metabolic adaptations before that calculation. So what I mean by that is, take myself as an example. I put myself on, 2,800 calories at the start of this gaining phase. I haven't changed them in about 7 or 8 weeks, and I've been gaining size. I've been gaining tissue, a little bit of fat. But if I were to interpret my details into a calculator and say I want to start gaining muscle, the difference between what I was consuming at 2,800 calories and what they recommend is about 600. Go from 28 to like 3,400 calories for someone of my size and my height as an example. Now you've got to look, that additional 600 calories, if I listen to the calculator, arguably, yeah, sure, there may be an additional amount of tissue being gained, but I know for damn sure, myself included, that quite a large amount of fat's going to be accrued as well. So like I said, calculators, they have their place, but we work with real data, as Eric Helms has always said, and many other online coaches have said. I want to take into consideration what a client has been consuming up until that point of where they say to me, like, let's go into an improvement phase now. So a lot of my guys and girls, if we've been dieting on like 2,200 calories as an example, we may deload, give them a little bit more food, and we'll just give them additional 250 to 300 calories and see where that takes their scale weight and body comp. I'm not for really going super high with that archetypal kind of like 500 calorie surplus or 500 calorie deficit. I think it's a little bit too much. And as we know through Eric Helms' research on the rate of gain, it's pointing in the direction of being slightly more conservative. So take calorie calculators if you are looking to use them with a pinch of salt. They're good, they're a good skeleton, a good guideline, but just take into consideration the amount of food that you've been on and where you go from there. Give yourself a couple hundred calories, see where scale weight goes from there. If it starts to slow down a little bit, or you spend a couple of weeks in a maintenance phase and your scale weight stabilises, happy days. At that point, you start to introduce more food. Oh. 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 That was alright. Big Joe's back, look. With his left mong hand when he writes in his notebook. Here we go, JB then. Strong, lad. Strong. Stay in there, stay in that tempo. There you go, good. Beautiful. Oh yeah, there we go. One more. Yeah, yeah. Go, go, go. In the pocket, in the pocket, in the pocket. Yeah, there we go. Train on your own, you're absolutely screwed. Thanks, Joseph.
You're welcome.
Okay. No, still being an idiot.
Are you in or not?
No, I'm not. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yep, let's go. Big back, let's fucking go, man. Oh, beautiful, strong. Good. Good, JB, easy. Flying through these, there we go, good. Stay in there, stay in that groove, come on. Good. Good, there we go. There we go, come on, now, right in the fucking pocket, let's go. Beautiful, easy, stay in it then. Stay in the fucking set. Beautiful. So, go. One. Go. Yeah. Oh. Big bump in strength at the moment. Another tip, earn your food. Earn the right to eat, ain't that right, Joseph? Earn the right to eat. Oh yeah. Don't be smacking calories down if you're not training hard. Go and get fat. Go and get fat, you get fat as fuck.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. The t-shirts from Primo Sports UK. They're my guys when it comes down to Nike sets. They do nice little bespoke off-the-shelf ones that you can't quite get your hands on. So if you're in the market for some Nike wear, Primo Sports UK. It was getting a bit noisy in the gym and I wanted to wrap up at home and cover a few more topics that I think will help people stay lean during their gaining phases. We've discussed about calorie calculators and how they have their place, but take them with a pinch of salt and ideally look at where your previous intake of food was and project where food would be off the back of that. We then discussed very briefly where Joe shouted, "You'll get fat," about earning the right to eat your food. So it's something that I do with a lot of my clients is I'll give them an intake, an increase in food, and we assess where performance and where recovery goes. And it's usually like a kind of ladder effect in the sense that we'll make an adjustment to food. We'll look at a 7, 14, potentially even 21-day window and see what happens there. If progression is still being increased and recovery still in a good spot, then happy days. There's no real requirement for us to add more food in there because the potential for them to accrue fat mass is also going to be there. So don't feel like you ever have to be in a position, and this is true for cutting phases as well. Don't feel like you've ever got to be in this position whereby each week something has to happen, because more often than not, when I've had that immature mindset when bulking, I got fat. The Dorian Yates days. I think I've put the picture up before. I'll put it on here again. This picture here, this was like weekly increases in food every week, regardless of what was happening with scale weight. It got very murky and it got very gnarly, and it's not a good spot to be in a gaining phase. Whereas like using myself and obviously my clients, I've made maybe 1 or 2 adjustments with food over these last, we're in our 10th, 11th week now. A couple of adjustments and that's it. And I'm still gaining, still performing. And at that point whereby performance and recovery may stagnate a little bit, we have to look at where your progressions are in the gym. The last thing you want to do is give a client more food when they aren't progressively overloaded. Hence why me and Joe are like, you need to earn the right to eat your food. I think, excuse me, I think another good point for giving the ability for an individual to stay lean during a gaining phase is where they start, their start position. I'm very, very reluctant when I have my consult calls and they fire across physique updates. I'm very reluctant to go into gaining phases or improvement phases with people who have elevated body fat, because it becomes very, very hard. And I think it becomes very hard psychologically for a lot of those people, because what you have to say to them, if they're adamant, if they really want to do it and they don't want to diet, you really have to drill into them that you are going to go through this 24-week patch, potentially longer, whereby body
is compromised a little bit, and you have to understand and be mentally strong to go, okay, there's a good level of tissue that's being built underneath this level of fat, but I have to keep in that mindset. I have to focus on, look at my strength progressions. You'll still see tissue build, you'll still see your shape improve, but for some people it's quite hard. So more often than not, I will always get a client or myself into a position whereby the response to that push up is so much better. Things are so much clearer. When an individual is lean and they go into a gaining phase, you can start to see how they respond to like everything. Imagine like a lean individual being like a really clear piece of glass, and you can see the manipulations that you're making to their food and training and whatnot. If someone comes in with elevated body fat, just to envisage that as like almost like a greasy glass. You can't quite see what's going on behind. So I'd always advise, if you are looking, and this not for everyone watching, not just clients or myself, but if you are thinking about going into a gaining phase over this winter arc, we're kind of heading into our winter arc now, and if you look at yourself and be quite self-critical and go, yeah, maybe I'm holding on to a little bit too much body fat here, in that case, just go aggressive. Just do like a 6 to 8 week aggressive mini cut. Be in a position whereby, you know, you're synthesizing, you've resynthesized, you're more responsive to foods as well, which segues me into my final point, which is incorporating cardio on a gaining phase. I think it's a must. I think it's really, really important. Aside from just the health benefit of it, I mean, my health right now in terms of where my cardio health is at is poor. My Z2 this morning was like a brisk walk, which is a big difference to when I was back in High Rocks training. My Z2 was like a decent jog. But having that level of cardio in during a gaining phase, I think is very, very important for your ability to stay sensitive to foods, to keep insulin in a good area as well. I think it's fantastic. Even incorporating things like intermittent fasting in. Intermittent fasting, I'm getting a lot of my clients to do that now, and they're loving it. So incorporating that in, I think, is another one too. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of what I want to say. I don't want to go overboard with topics, but I think the basic ones, look at where you're at. You know, if you are and have been an individual that's dieted down and is now going into their improvement phase, be a little reluctant to then start to interpret your scale weight readings into these calculators, because you may have been dieting on 1800 calories and then suddenly you put your scale weight in and it gives you 2,500 calories, and all of a sudden you've gone into a 700 calorie surplus. Now, aside from the potential of fat mass being accrue, you're also going to be looking at putting a lot of stress on your internal organs as well. So just be really careful. Just give yourself a little bit of food, assess where scale weight is and where it's going. And if you spend the first 2 weeks, which is what we get to do with all of our clients, we give a good 14, potentially 21 day window of just data collection. You know, here is your food for these 2 weeks. I want to see how that's affecting your scale weight. Okay, fantastic. Over the last 2 weeks you've maintained, we've pretty much found your maintenance. We can either go, depending on the client obviously, we can either go into a slight surplus now or a slight deficit. So take calculators with a pinch of salt, get your cardio in, good food as well. I know I sound a bit like Eddie Abu, but as much as I disagree with what he says, what he stands for in terms of real whole food is so true. And that's coming from a point of view of someone that's been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, who is still on a really long ongoing journey. Like I'm not good at the moment, man. My stomach's been really bad and it's getting me down and I spiral, and it just like, you tend to catastrophize everything. But like one thing that I know that helps me is good food, good quality food, intermittent fasting, nutrient timing to a degree as well. If you want to get a little bit more detailed, when you're in a gaining phase, we tend to kind of clump a lot of our carbohydrates around about that peri-workout window. It keeps you sensitive to carbohydrates. You can utilize some of that carbohydrate pre-training as well. It keeps you nice and sensitive outside of that training window where you're just having pro-fat meals. So there's loads of different little kind of tips and tricks that you can learn to keep a level of condition. I'm not saying let's stay stage lean all year round, because I think it's counterintuitive. I think we all need to understand that there needs to be an injection of, okay, we're going to need to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable, because it certainly works. But I think pushing the boundaries of just accruing far too much fat mass is not what is needed or required for the vast majority of people, unless that you need to pack on a certain amount of size for a show and then strip it back a bit. Like me, we had to just drive food in, drive scale weight, and it ultimately got me from my like 78 kilo stage weight up into the 86s. So like I put on good tissue with better condition, and yeah, it was required. But would I do it again? Probably not. It was fucking uncomfortable, mate. It really was. But yeah, I hope you can
take a few pointers. Any further questions? If you think I've missed anything, obviously hit them in the comment section below. Kickoff is in 35 minutes. I don't get nervous, but I'm starting to get a little bit. No Saka either. No Saka, no Martinelli, no Rodri for them. Who else think we've got? 2-0 Arsenal. Trossard masterclass. You heard it here first. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you very, very soon. I think I might take a little trip up to Cambridge and check out Le Coach. It's my birthday next week. Oh my God, it's my birthday week next week, Monday. 30 on Saturday. I'll be in damn. Be too hard to care. But I might go and check out little Cambridge Le Coach two nights and have a nice little chill. Because like I said, my fucking stomach issues are right getting me down at the moment, man. So annoying. I'm sure my other ulcerative colitis and my Crohn's gang know. God damn, it's hard sometimes. But yeah, I'll see you very soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Is that a good time, man? My old man's come round. Thank you, good night. Much love.